Their song "Right Here," which was my first tax credit. It was a sample of "Human Nature," Michael Jackson's song, and he actually had a small percentage in my company, which is J&J Management. So yeah, he actually had I can speak for Michael. I can't speak for the whole Jackson family, but I do know that Michael actually had his hands and owned a percentage of many different publishing companies, management companies, as well as record companies.
Okay. I know that. Okay. How would how would you guys want to be able to take the first step in trying to to pursue this? What would be the first step? Would you guys want to possibly
This is
wrap up a
Variety
or
Live Media. PJ Agent from
talentlato
at gmail.com. 708.
So let us get a scope. So that means like send over some things of what it is, what sends your vision. Obviously gives me a little something to ponder over for a little second. And then it kind of allows me to see where you're trying to go with your vision. It allows me to see what I need from you, what I need for you to show your fidelity to us. And then we can kind of shoot from there. And obviously I'm going to be talking with George, talking with you and George together. And that's another thing, you have to respect this, and this is no disrespect to you. But every time I will be speaking with you, I will obviously have George on the phone. And the reason why I do that is because, like I said, I do all of my business on top of the table. So at this point, it is very important for me to continue to keep the relationship that I have with George in the very great standing state that it is. So I would never want to have a conversation where he's not in, so that he won't ever feel that he's being cut out of anything. That's just how I am. So it's not something to say that you are going to do something sneaky or that I'm going to do anything sneaky, but it's just that I respect the relationship that I have with George. Outside of the business, he's become a very trusted colleague of mine, and I cherish that stance that I have with him.
Thank you. Likewise.
Yes. So here's what we'll do. You're going to get that information together. When you get that information together, you will definitely allow George to know that you prepared that. And then obviously you'll be able to get that over to me. We will revisit this conversation. Next time it'll be a little bit more business. I just always like to take things personal first, so that I can make sure that the working energy is going to be on the up and up when I'm actually working with the person. And then we'll go from there. Okay. Alrighty, and then obviously you're going to have artists. Those artists, I expect to have those artists in. Obviously there's a ton of things that I can do, but I always look for an artist to. I always look for a business person to bring their artist. I expect to see results. George knows how I am in regards to this, so results are very, very important to me. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
All right.
So, and if you have any questions or anything, obviously you know that you can reach out to me. All right. Alrighty. George, did you need anything else? I know you said you had another meeting, so I don't want
to. Not today, but I'm going to Pasadena, Texas, and sit down with a family, and they agent knows the Knowles family. So, and Jack is going to be involved. I'm going to bring all these to my 10 plus 1 is making me the 11th. So we're going to sit down at the ranch, and we're going to all get behind these 500 artists, do exactly what you told us to do, and we already discussed that. And then Rebecca lost, like I tell Jack, we had a death in the family. So we're going to push this kid to Warner Brothers and get him to you first, like you said. Business, he bad. He Michael Jackson and Prince in the same body. His agent we replaced his agent with you.
Okay, perfect. So just let me know, and then we'll go from there.
All right, thank you. Do you know a individual within the talent or A&R department by the name of Mr. Karamsky?
Oh, yes, I do. Actually, the thing is that if I don't have a personal connection with anyone within the label, then I have other people. So we have Sheila, we have Jerome, we have Rudy Perez, we have Andrew, so we have Rebecca, so we all know people at various labels. So if I don't very specifically have a relationship with the person, I'm sure that one of the other staff members does.
Okay. Matt, what do you know about the wannabe investment, online digital media investment that's going on with the site? Because I think they're offering an advance of some sort of for $25 million for a new online digital media music company, and I spoke with Miss Renee Rowe out of New York and D.D. Myers in L.A. about the specific wannabe investment from the Warner Bros. Entertainment family about going about the process of submitting some material to them for actual possible funding and online digital media, music and online digital media, new media company. And I want to try to fit that deal within the music standpoint, from a music standpoint. But I heard of that one and one music boost with Alex Albin as well within the New York Warner Bros. Media practice as well. He's overseeing that particular situation. I just wanted to try to get, what do you think about that, and could that be a possibility to pursue as well once we, get the new situation straight and to a core first? Do you think that would be to pursue soon thereafter, or wait till the new situation is solid enough where we can branch off and do syndication simultaneously with the music through both those companies?
So here's my thing, and this is how I do things. A lot of times people say, "Oh my God," but I'm one of those people. I take everything on at the same time. I don't place one thing before the other because I feel that timing is very pertinent in this industry. So that's what makes our jobs very difficult. A lot of times, that's what makes our jobs very tedious at times, is because you can't just. This is my approach, by the way. So this is just the PJ, blueprint. Doesn't mean that it's the blueprint that might necessarily work for you. But how I do things is that think of how you cook, when you're cooking. So on my particular stove, I have 10 eyes on my stove, but normally on some stoves, they have 4, sometimes maybe 5. But on my particular stove, I have a La Cornue French stove, and I have 10 eyes. It's a very big stove. So on those eyes, I could have 10 pots cooking all at the same time, maybe at different temperatures. Obviously, higher temperatures mean that the food cooks quickly and sometimes it burns. But if I'm just depending on that one pot to be the meal that's going to nourish me, that meal could burn up, and then I'm left with nothing.
Amen.
So, in essence, I would cook with 10 pots. So that means that while one thing is going on, I have 9 other things going on, just so that in the event that one thing doesn't go through, I'm not stuck holding a figgy pudding pie that's going to get smashed in my face. So that's just my approach. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you that maybe is the greater thing for you to do. However, I take on several things at one time, and it's just to make sure that I'm ensured success.
Amen.
But cultivating a lot of relationships at one time means that obviously it's very tedious. It means that it can be very time consuming, and sometimes it can be very tiring. But you sound like you're youthful. You sound like you get the vigor for it. So I think that you can handle it. So my idea would be to take on all things that are being presented and that are available to you as of right now. Don't, put one thing on hold, because when you put it on hold, if you go back, it might not be available to you when you go back to try to pick it up.
PJ,
Yes.
what I added to the pot I like what you said about them 10 eyes. To boil them fucking crawfish so they won't pull nobody down. And then what I added to the pot is my 25,000 retirement. I'm surrendering 500 talents. 10 companies here, and Jack is one of them. That's why we wanted to catch you. That's my proposal. Is they're gonna help me get my 500 EPKs and $20 registration fees is $28,000. We're gonna just pay that and then help each individual times 500.
That's right. So I mean, so that's what I was right, exactly. So, but that's how you build your success off of that, because obviously we have the connections to all of the things, but you have to bring the talent.
That's what we're doing. He's one of us. So that's 10 individuals plus me, and they're gonna help me close that. But we got to go back to what do you call it? Artist number one, and pay that. I'm gonna pay that for them because we respect you, and I'm glad I met somebody at your caliber. So that's why we're gonna meet you halfway.
Yes, yes. And then obviously we make concessions. I mean, obviously, George, I'm sure George will tell you more. But in regards to even we invest. So being that we invest in artists, the artist has to definitely be ready. The investment is $1.2 million. We obviously have compilations that we release. We put them on, what I used to call them. They obviously don't exist anymore, but something like a compilation disc or a mixtape, But the song obviously usually does reach popular. It at least hits, the top 100s. So there's tons of things that we do, but you have to come in with a scope. A lot of times what we do encounter is artists that don't know anything. They just know that they want to be famous. And fame, to me, it takes on many different, things. I had an artist that was trying to be a musician, and the popularity that they received was not because they were very talented, but it was because they were actually not very talented. So they became more of like a joke on the internet. A young lady, she made a song called Friday. So while she felt she became an internet sensation, but she didn't become famous because she had a great voice and the song was great. It was just one of those really sucky songs, and people took it for a joke and thought it was funny, but she became very famous, which did equate a lot of money for her, and that was kind of it. I took my hands off of it and let it ride the tide, and it made her a internet sensation.
Okay.
So that's why I said fame and even fortune. It's kind of like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. I've seen artists that have gotten $250,000 and they thought that they were rich, and I'm like, are you serious? And I've seen artists that have sold like 100,000 copies and they thought that they were the next Whitney Houston, and I was like, oh no, you got a long way to go just yet.
People don't mess with Whitney.
I always tell people you have to come in with the scope. When you have a scope, it helps us to have a more preparedness about what it is that we're trying to actually embark upon. All right.
Whitney and Michael Jackson. Don't mess with Whitney and Michael, because that PJ know them but very personal.
Yes, I do. Yes, I very much do. And actually, Andrew actually worked with Michael Jackson very, very closely. He actually was with the Susan Blonde agency when Michael Jackson had Susan Blonde as his publicist.
Amen.
So he was very, very close with Michael and the Jackson family. I myself was very close with Michael, and I also had my short time with Janet, but to J. Cole when I got him signed to his deal. Each one of those individuals, all of their cases were very, very different because they were all very different people. I treat people according to an individualized basis. I don't treat them as some type of blueprint that I follow. I mean, I'm just always very successful, but I think it's more so because of how I encounter and how I deal with people. People know that I'm very straightforward. I'm no bullshit. I don't beat you. I don't feed you chocolate and then sneak in a couple of soda cans behind it to give you diarrhea. That's not my thing. I give you the cookies and I give you some water and say, hey, take it easy with those chocolate chip cookies. They'll catch up on you, sneak up on you. That's how I do business, because I want to make sure that at the end of the day, I can go home and lay my head down knowing that I didn't sell you down the river without a canoe. And I also want to make sure that at the end of the day, you'll say, hey, well, PJ did a good job for me. So this next person that I'm going to encounter, I'm going to make sure that we use PJ, because PJ is going to, handle things the right way.
Right.
So that's how I do business, because that's why I've had the longevity that I've had in the industry, because I do all of my deals on top of the table, not underneath the table. If something's going on underneath the table, I don't mind watching, but I'm not going to be involved in it, And I've been in this industry. I've seen some real stuff happen under the table, and it wasn't deals, but I've seen it all. So because of that, that's the reason why I specifically encounter people the way that I encounter them. I treat you as an individual. Being that George is bringing you in, this is the reason why I'm giving you higher respect. Even if you and I don't work with one another at a later point in time, I'm giving you the respect now that you're due, because he deems you to be worthy of being able to gravitate all of my attention, So that's what I'm going to give to you. But thus far, you've been very respectful, you've been very professional, and that's the kind of stuff that makes me interested. So being that you've been this way with me, I obviously am going to take interest in working with you and giving you all of the help that I can possibly give you. But it is going to, just to let you know, it is going to have to be through George. One of the things that you will find out about me is that you're potentially going to build a rapport with me. George has that rapport. So whether George calls me at midnight, even if I'm tired as hell, I'm going to pick my phone up and find out what's going on. A lot of times I'm in a conference and I'm busy and stuff, but when I know that it's him calling, like he was calling and I didn't get a chance to answer, I saw that he called. I was going to give him a call back later today, but being that he called more than once, I said, oh, this must be an emergency. Let me answer now.
Thank you.
But you're building that. And a lot of times people just feel that it's all about money with me. I'm already wealthy. I've had at one point in time, just in this year alone, I've had 10 artists that were all in the top 10, which means that they were all in the top 10 at the same time.
Amen.
So, now did they stay there weeks on end? Of course not. But, they were all, I had 10 artists in the top 10 at one time, and that was in this year, the beginning of this year. So because of that, that's the reason why, I made my money. So I'm not looking to, for me to work with you, you don't have to entice me and say, oh, well, this is going to be lucrative. Just let me know what you're doing. I'm able to decipher, and I can tell a good deal and a bad deal. I was actually the individual that put together the multi-billion-dollar merger deal between Disney and Marvel. So trust me, I know what's lucrative and what's not. I just like personality. But for the fact at the end of the deal, I can be your friend, then you're going to always be successful in this industry. If at the end of a deal with you and I feel like I want to strangle the fuck out of you, then I know that I'm never going to work with you ever again. You know what I mean?
Amen.
That's me. I look to build long-lasting relationships. Like, for instance, Andrew has been a colleague of mine for over 20 years. Lou Pearlman, God rest his soul, he was a colleague. If he had been alive today, he would have been a colleague of mine for 23 years.
Hell boy.
So, so that's where I'm at. I just like to give you that information. Clive Davis, I've known him for about 20 years. So, that's where I'm at. I'm one of those people. If I'm business, I'm definitely always business, but I'm people first.
I have a kid ready for Warner Brothers, and that'll be my next conference call, PJ. I don't bother you much unless it's important.
Yes, now I will tell you, Warner Brothers, I do have great rapport with them as well. So I used to have an artist with them back in 1998. Her name was Jennifer Page.
I remember that.
Yes, so So that's that. Like I said, I've been in this industry for so long. Trust me, I've had my hands on every damn thing.
And this kid really needs you because he's Michael Jackson and Prince in the same body.
Oh wow! And we all knew how that rapport with those two were.
And I got an agent that's representing him with the Knowles family, but I told him, and like you told Jackson there, nothing comes through the table but through PJ because everybody else, I'm saying like you said, everybody else fucked up and misrepresented, and now PJ is the agent.
Yes. Now I can't lie, but I've obviously alleviated some people. I think, George, I told you what happened with Megan.
Yeah, man.
People that if you bring me on, if I tell you don't talk and don't say anything to the media, that means don't say anything to the media. Even if you're feeling angry or something, she was having problems with people that were that she was working with, but I told her not to say anything. I said, don't go public with this. Let's work with them to work it out first. Then if obviously you receive no result, then you turn to the general public and you can make some statements, but still hold your shit together while you're making these statements. Don't, people perceive things differently if you kind of go on record and you're just kind of seeming like you're, losing all of your apples, in public, people would just say, oh, well, she's just breaking down. Or it loses the respect that you're trying to gain. People just take on the context of maybe this is just an angry black woman, and she's actually delivering facts to the public of what's happening. It's not always about what you say, it's how you say it sometimes. And what we have to realize is that we all come from different places geographically. So where you could be telling the public something that's very pertinent and that could be helpful to a new artist entering into the industry, people will misconstrue it and feel that it's, you taking things personally, and separating them and not delivering facts. And, but she was giving facts, but it was definitely from a very emotional place. And people kind of wrote it off as her being an angry black woman and bitter and jaded. But she went over my head and I told her not to say anything. And she said it. So to me, that was a slap in my face. I'm like, so now I'm not in this at all. Now you're going to have to deal with this on your own. And I actually dumped her out of the contract.
Wow.
Because when I said something, to me, damage control is everything, and I hate people calling me when I'm having a busy day to ask me something about it, what an artist said or what they meant by it. I'm like, well, I don't read minds. And if I did, half of the shit that's going on in the world wouldn't be acting if I had those abilities, because I would cut it off at the pass, So, I'm not Miss Cleo. I can't read minds. I can't.
Call me now.
If I could, I would use it. I would wait until the millions thing goes up to like $400 million and do that every time it goes up that high and then give the money to charity. But that's not my ability. So in essence, we have to speak about things and, they have to obviously listen. And that's something that she chose not to do. And therefore, it created a bigger issue. And I did have to relinquish her out of her contract because I didn't want to deal with, with the headache.
Okay. Now, you mentioned Warner Brothers. I do, from the label standpoint that I'm sitting. Sports. For a record producer, for client services as well. So
he's a really good mine, actually. Scott Storch is a really, really good friend of mine. And I was actually working with him a lot during his little period of the problems that he was having financially. And also, Chris Brown in 2008. I worked with him. So you're in good.
Okay.
And also with PA Records, a great colleague of mine, and it's actually a great colleague also of Andrew, who's a colleague. George is very familiar with Andrew Eisner. Ron Fair actually used to be the president over at RCA. So you're in good family. You're in the loop.
Yeah. And this can be a very, very good situation for everybody. Because I basically, the Universal Sony family is very, very solid concrete at this time. Because, like I said, I have a deal in about 4 or 5 weeks with Sony Red through an agent in New York, and for a pressing and distribution deal with Sony Red, and a 3-year deal. And basically, I want to try to bring, the Sony family together within my circle. Because it's a very solid opportunity, and I don't think somebody wants to, pass this up, because we have, like I said, producers, artists, and also a deal, possible 2 deals with RCA and Sony Red, at the table, and just try to go ahead, try to solidify and try to, lock that deal down with Sony, pretty much. And,
Yes.
Just want to get started. Just want to get started with everybody. And, like I said, I'm 8 hours away from you in Indianapolis. So, I just want to try to work with everybody and just try to, make a good thing even better. So.
Yes. Well, I can tell you, not to toot my own horn too deep, but it started at a really good place with me. So, I'm very well connected in the industry. I obviously know everyone. I've been in the industry myself for 27 plus years now, so I have 6 platinum credits to my name. So I'm that person. I own J&J Management. That is my particular company. However, we allow a lot of artists, whether emerging, those that are new artists or even emerging artists that are a little bit past the developmental stages. We actually allow Talent Lotto to be used as a vehicle because I'm very expensive. And you speaking with Scott Storch, he will definitely tell you that what I'm telling you is no BS. It's actual factual. I'm very expensive.
Let me clarify. I haven't spoken with Scott Storch. I only spoken with his network there in LA.
Over it.
His network is has his own label, but he's with Interscope and Def Jam Distribution, and the label that I've been fixing and servicing for the past 10 years, the CEO of the label finally got. I'm not sure how the attorneys have got this at the CEO of the label. Man, I think the attorney might have read a month ago to get the CEO of the label. I heard it and liked it, and they got together, and the CEO of the label got back to me saying that, this is, Scott Storch's attorney. And that's when I, told the CEO of the label that, the network in LA has him as well as a client, along with Chris now with RCA Records. So that's why I want to try to, get the Sony Red situation, RCA Records situation, and all the talent together, and with the Universal situation through Mr. Miller, it's 2 major labels, possibly get started with, and bring all representation and the talent together. Could be a very, 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 very good situation for everybody, and just want to, try to get started. And being independent for about 15 years and working with the CEO of the label for about 13 or 14 years.
Yes.
The label is ready to go. That was 60 Thursday. So he already sold about 70,000 units. Tour, been on radio, has about 7 recording artists signed to his label. That's who I want to bring to the table. And I made some connections and networks in the major industry as well, like yourself. And Mr. Miller is another one. And it's a very good situation for the music. So I just wanted to try to see what the first step could be, and get started with yourself and Mr. Miller.
Well, Jackson, you talking to my boss, so that's why it was so hard to catch him. But now you caught him, so you better speak your mind because you see how hard it is to catch him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I could run past. Interscope Records is there. We have an A&R ready to go to get signed with the label and with advancement. And we already have a package out at Aftermath Interscope there at the headquarters in LA. So that will be a very good situation. I have a record producer that used to be with Capital Records. I was having a chat with him about 3 days ago. He's about to get on, and
Everybody.
So if you're scared, go to church. This is Chicago, Indianapolis, New York, Baltimore, Boston, D.C., Miami, Houston, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Los Angeles, Seagull. There was a lady named Cherry at Kim Management, and that was a Morgan Freeman deal. Max Payne movies is what they was representing. And then some organization from Los Angeles and Houston came to Houston, cut a deal, and unplugged George Miller. So plug him back up, and let's do business. Peace. TwinkieMan.com. Tavares Lenzer and the Lenzer Family Live.